Hello friends, this is Colrun. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Thank you all for joining me as we head into the next raid. This is going to be the Abyssos raids, I think. The next Pandemonium ones. It's been a while since I did the original ones, so if I forget anything, please gently correct me and accept my apologies. Holy hell, that's an ominous... Okay. That's... I mean, I don't know where I don't remember enough of them to rank them, but this is by far the most disturbing quest acceptance art thing I've seen. Claudienne's eyes are brimming with the excitement of discovery. Ugh. Was that vampire boy? I don't know. Kukushu, I've made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whispers, and I must say... Love that Lalafell march. Professor Claudienne, where are your manners? This is Nimgigi. While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Yes, of course. My apologies, Kukushu. Being consumed by my research for so long, I'm afraid I've quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. This is a thing that happens in academia. In that case, perhaps we should start from the beginning, with a crystal set adrift upon the ethereal tides containing the memories of a party yet unknown. They cried out for deliverance from Pandemonium, where the ancients kept volatile creations under lock and key. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within, and the advent of a divine monstrosity wrought of mythic beast and powerful mage. Fortunately, your martial prowess and the combined talents of your companions Themis and Erichthonios was sufficient to restore order to the circles of Asphodelos. But the greater threat remains. Thank you for this recap, by the way. Sincerely, I sincerely mean that. I really appreciate that refresher. In the depths of Pandemonium, a presence yet stirs, its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. That's the issue at hand, is it not? And they need to do that with an expansion, with content that's out, like, what, 6 months after the initial content? 7 months after the initial content, something like that? Since you returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. So we found a crystal. He's trying to figure out what the story is with the crystal, and he detected a signature, a memory signature. Analysis of this pattern suggested a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole. That's not great. Another such crystal exists in our time. Okay. Alright, tracing the etheric signature to its source will be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Professor, will this expedition be carried out by bus? By us, or will Kukushu grace us with her protection? No, I will not grace you. I'm afraid she has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Rusino. Namely, to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandemonium, where this all began. Nestled is a more cozy word than I associate with Pandemonium. From all this, all that we have heard, it appears that time traversal from the Crystal Tower is not fluid. One can but travel in predetermined intervals. Be prudent to check in on occasion, in case there are any unanticipated changes. Gives them a lot of flexibility to play with time if they want. As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask you to remain here and continue cataloging the ancient creations. Yeah, you don't think you were hoping for that. You can't mean... Do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why, yes, that would be the most efficient use of resources, would it not? In fact, I have already commissioned a ship and a pilot for that very purpose. I trust you to take good care of the laboratory in my absence. The frustrating life of an assistant. I apologize for that somewhat abrupt departure. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudienne tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, and he has been worse than usual. I can't fault him for his excitement. I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. Yeah, you were just kind of treated as not super well cared for tools, much like teaching assistants. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Much as it spoke only to you last time, none but the professor has been able to capture its ethereal yearning, which has served only to convince him that he can solve this puzzle on his own. Because there's at least some reason behind it. Surely after some time alone, he'll come to remember how valuable we are. Good luck with that. The search for this crystal seemed to be a simple enough matter. We let him have his adventure, and upon his return, I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. I am really worried that he's going to be possessed by the crystal, and he's going to be like the final boss. Not him, but like his body possessed by whatever the thing is. As for you, Kakusha, it may be best to return to Pandemonium. Okay. Traveling to Pandemonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? There's something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creations confined within Pandemonium are considered to be failures, I doubt that's their whole story. Why do you... Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Elpis before being consigned to their shackles. And if we know anything about the Ancients, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. I believe that. Yeah, I'm optimistic about this. While there are no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly with only her strength to carry the day. That works more often than you'd think. For your own sake as well as ours, please unearth what information you can. Hello, pigeon. I'm just refreshing myself on the initial story. So the crystal wasn't one we found. It was the thing that kicked this whole thing off. At the professor's team found, that Nemgigi specifically found. Maybe, I don't know. And that's what set this all off. Okay. Quick note, by the way. I have a cat. Themis. Ah, I did not expect to meet you here, of all places. You seek records of Pandemonium's creations. Master Themis has just finished perusing the very same. I should not be surprised we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I've saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. Ah, so you know each other. I was dreading having to once again scour the archives, but perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. As should we, for I have undone the warding sigil to blocking the entrance to Abyssos. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandemonium's protective wards continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Ericthonius's capacity to keep watch over Asphodelos. Asphodelos? Is that what we settled on? Asphodelos while I'm away. He works diligently to master interment, that he might deliver the creations back to their cages by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. He's the kid of... He's Lahotbrea's kid, right? And since fate has brought both of us here, I would ask that you accompany me while I attend to another matter. More idle suspicions to chase down. I like this Lalafel's name. Tumi Boomy Boomy Tumi. Rest assured, it shall not take long. It's one of the real continuous pleasures of this game is just seeing the names everyone picks. I simply have a few questions to ask an acquaintance of mine. Okay? As I've pondered our expedition into Pandemonium, I could not help but be mystified by how strongly the warders we encountered felt for Lahotbrea, whether it be for good or ill. Hesperos and Ericthonius were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion. Hesperos was the, Was Hesperos the final boss? Gosh, the names are bleeding together. I'm sure I'll pick up the context in a second. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion. Well, yeah, that was Hesperos was Dracula. While the latter looks to his father with bald hatred. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extremes of emotions toward a single individual are quite rare indeed. Lahotbrea was kind of a... He was kind of a straightforward asshole, wasn't he? But that was when we met him. Like, I don't remember. I don't really know what he was like back then. He was like kind of a violence first, second, and third type guy rather than the crafty sort that... I mean, he was crafty, but in Ascian terms, he was more straightforward than the likes of Elpis or Emmet. Naturally, I feel gratitude toward my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. The view is not unique to myself. It's more or less accepted as the way of things. Very interesting. I've seen that. I guess there is something kind of commune or kibbutz-esque about a lot of this older society, and this is a view I've heard from people who grew up in those, or at least I've heard is not uncommon for people who grew up in those settings. By contrast, the researchers of Pandemonium seem to view Lahotbrea with a feeling approaching obsession. I have to imagine we'll see him at some point. I mean, he's such a focal point here. Whether driven by love or hate, they have all been drawn to him. There were many other aspects of the facility's particulars I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the Words of Lahotbrea. Okay. Hello. My apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you're conducting an investigation of Pandemonium and wish to know its origins. Indeed, in particular, I wish to know why Pandemonium was built directly under Elpis. A curious question. This facility is overseen by the Words of Lahotbrea, after all. Why keep it so close to Elpis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? Yeah, it would make sense to be built like wherever Lahotbrea HQ is. At first I thought maybe it's because... Oh yeah, I was going to say exactly what Themis is saying here. At first I thought it to be simply a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elpis could be easily ushered into their new homes. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed that many of the creations were sent from organizations beyond Elpis, including from the Words of Lahotbrea themselves. Are we dealing with like a political prisoners situation? Where like some of them were locked up for reasons beyond just them being failures or dangerous? Maybe they were like a threat. Maybe their existence was a threat even if they were morally innocent. Or like not even a danger. Given this, albeit limited information, I cannot but feel that Academia Anider would have been a more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found there? These are fitting questions, and ones we have asked ourselves many times in recent years. You don't know. I mean, you're upfront about it, but that surprises me. The nature of Pandemonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. Oh, you do know. When first it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. The majority of the creations were sent from Elpis. Oh, it was the convenience answer. Maybe? As the years passed, interests changed. Failures in creations deemed too flawed even to submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of Pandemonium's researchers. That is quite the change, and in fact it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creations will be the subject of research? Master Lahotbrea. Such authority is reserved for the chief keyword, and he has taken it upon himself to step into that role. Yeah, that's a lot of concentrated power. So if Pandemonium's resources were being misused, it would be under Lahotbrea's authority, correct? I mean, all the Ascians have been good have been, like, well-intentioned prior to, you know, their tempering of Zodiark, or prior to the final days, at least. But that doesn't mean all of them were. It's possible Lahotbrea was a villain all along, and he just became a different kind of villain, or a different villain with a different master purpose once Zodiark came in. I know not what you're suggesting, but the keywords also hold some sway within the facility. Not even Master Lahotbrea would be free from their scrutiny. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible. Although I admit as of late, their communication has been somewhat sporadic, although their communication has been somewhat sporadic, we but recently received a report from one of the keywords stating that all is well within Pandemonium's halls. So we talking mind control? We talking loyalty to Lahotbrea that leads them to lie? Really? And you're certain that a keyword sent it? Oh, this could be them, not loyalty. This could be them because they were hesitant to send notice of danger because they wanted to handle it themselves, something like that, right? Sorry. Yes, of course. Our communication suffered. Dude. Okay, goodbye, Pigeon. Suffered a temporary. Sorry, I just saw a message that said something was disconnected. Surely the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the sender. Yeah, my controller is disconnected. What's going on? That was weird. Thank you. This information will be helpful to my investigation. That will be all for my prying. And I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warder's work is delicate, and it would be remiss to disturb them for longer than is necessary. They're already being disturbed. Quite disturbed. All is well. A blatant lie, and to that we can both attest. One of the remaining keywords is almost certainly in league with the party behind this. Let us hurry. I know not why our adversary sent that report, but 'tis plain that we must return to Pandemonium with haste. I'm probably mixing up the two people who were like holding down the fort with the keywords. But I thought one of them became like a temporary keyword, something like that. Maybe they're just, I don't remember the hierarchy involved. Like the different roles. I cannot guess as to why this false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill, as does the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyword to puppet. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and we would be remiss to leave Erechthonios at the mercy of their machinations. Like, I thought Erechthonios had become a keyword in the wake of the chaos, but I guess not. Such a cool friggin' zone. Not quite. What are you trying to do? Bust into the next area? Yeah, no. I've traced these sigils countless times, yet still I lack the strength to maintain the spell. You're trying to put up like a more permanent barrier, I guess? Now time works against me. I can no longer be victim to my own ineptitude. What? Who goes there? Don't worry, just your friendly neighborhood Lala. No, it's not your friendly neighborhood Lala. This is a very Full Metal Alchemist feel to it. There is something to be admired in such single-minded effort, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You allowed this familiar to catch you. Is this Lahotbrea's familiar? To catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget you walk upon the earth? Yeah, with this sass, it's absolutely Lahotbrea's familiar. I guess not. I know this creature, a familiar of the Phoenix. The Phoenix. But that monster's locked away. That it is, in spite of the trouble I went to in freeing it, I might add. No, it's definitely the villain, but so maybe either Lahotbrea is the villain and I was right, or I was wrong and this is just some other familiar that has nothing to do with Lahotbrea. But if everything about it, from the sass to Erechthonios to the condescension to him, like felt Lahotbrea-ish. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodelos wrested from my grasp, is simply the best I can offer you. Hide if you will, but mark my words, I will find you and make you pay for the chaos you've sown. It's my mission to kill chaos. Now, there is no need for such hostility. A calm heart stays the course. The wisdom of Lahotbrea, your father. This is not Lahotbrea. The way he's talking about Lahotbrea just there is not the way you talk about... Unless it is, how would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times, the scolding of a tutor whose students struggle to grasp the most rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. No, it straight up is Lahotbrea. Okay. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperus. That could only mean one thing. It doesn't mean only one thing. It can mean two things. One is, it could mean this is Lahotbrea. Two is, it could be someone that Lahotbrea talked to that betrayed him. Who Lahotbrea tutored in the same way with the same sort of... I don't think that's like an outlandish idea. But still you insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, Lahotbrea. At last you move to keep up. Pity that you remain behind nevertheless. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it is Lahotbrea, what's happening? What? As ever you are. Always you fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. It also, there's no guarantee that this is Lahotbrea of his own free will. He could be possessed just as the first boss of the first area was possessed. And though fate deigned to offer an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense both. But you need not despair. Dull though you may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandemonium's great experiment. Ah, there's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall. Take pride in that and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What? What wish? To measure up to your expectations, I guess? Come and all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred, is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you? He was freed. Uninvited guests join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favors you. Fortune no longer favors you because he got interrupted. Yeah, poke his eye out. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your prattle, let alone bowing to your will? I am no longer a child, and my faith lies with those who have earned it. Get wrecked, thing that might possibly be a familiar of Lahotbrea. So these are the heroes who brought Hesperus low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. Power divine. 'Tis plain there worthier subjects to contend with. It's lolling time. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities about what that could be that are not just straight up dad's evil. That is one of the possibilities, don't get me wrong, but it's also not the only one. And the fact that they're still calling in ominous familiar at this point makes me hesitant to believe that that's just straight up Lahotbrea's familiar talking of Lahotbrea's own free will. Thank you. If you had shown up even a moment later, I shudder to think what would have become of me. There's something I must tell you. I know who's behind this. You suspect who's behind this. There's but one person who can hold thrall over familiar, creation, and keyword alike. Maybe. Erchthonius is certain he knows the identity of Pandemonium's assailant. I would, if I had to put money on it, I'd put money that this is not just Lahotbrea orchestrating a plan of his own free will. I'd bet something more on... I'm thinking of like Yogg-Saron in World of Warcraft, where like someone who's infecting the jailers around him and kind of making them act according to as he'd like, if not outright possessing them. And so there can be one conclusion. Lahotbrea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There is logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast. The rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his work with the Convocation and the Words, his relatively minor role as chief keyword comes under little scrutiny. Even as it provides him the authority to wield dangerous magics, it may serve as veil and mantle both. That's a good phrase. Still, I find the notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the Lahotbrea I know. They could have been done by the Lahotbrea this kid knows, though. You've met him, yes? Do you think he is capable of this? I met him, but it was a different time. Yeah. That's a very different... I don't know. I think I'm going to go with it's still too early to say for certain. Lahotbrea is capable of far more than you know, but I'm not going to blame Ascian Lahotbrea for... I'm not going to treat Ascian Lahotbrea's actions as proof of what pre-Ascian Lahotbrea is capable of in this moment. So I'm going to say it's still too early to say for certain. Truly is a puzzle with many missing pieces. Still, I see you do not deny outright the possibility Lahotbrea is a man with few scruples. I do not deny that. That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, Lahotbrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be the one to let emotion stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met but briefly, the impression he left on me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. Though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem to guided by a firm understanding of what is just. Interesting. And I don't 100% trust Erichthonios's... Because Erichthonios is really close to this, is like... In a way, like, it might be hard for him to see the forest for the trees if there is something else going on. Yeah, we gotta go into Pandemonium to find out more. Then we must move forward with no excessive caution. Lahotbrea, or whomever is behind this, I think it's whoever is behind this, right? Has likely spread their tentacles into every corner, because whom is the, well, I think it's whoever, has likely spread their tentacles into every corner of Pandemonium. We can safely assume the other keywords won't greet us with open arms. They will not. All right, into Abyssos, one careful step at a time. Yeah, I got this. So they're going to stay out here, and I will dive in. Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. This will ensure that even should we become separated, my phantom warriors will still come to your aid. That's good. Yeah, I won't be soloing this trial. If it does come to battle, the keyword's magic will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have to even the scales somewhat. I trust you shall be liberal with your weight. I have to be. I'm quite little. In game, in real life, I am not quite little. I am a 230-pound, 5'11" Hure. Abyssos, the 5th circle, now accessible. So as usual, I'm going into this unspoiled. I have not heard anything about this first boss or the second boss or any of these bosses. So if I die a lot, it's because I am not good at the video game. Listen to this music! I love a little piano in my metal. Or heavier rock. I don't know if this is metal yet. Mythic creation Proto-Carbuncle. Carby, no! Proto-Carbuncle. Oh, no, you got... I mean, you're still pretty cute, but, like, wow. That's pretty funny. I've never expected to see such, like... This is like a fan fiction of, like, what if Carbuncle spent time at Hot Topic? This is like a fan art. Ugly Bunkle. So one of the players in the group called him Ugly Bunkle. Rude. Are we just swinging in a cage here? We are. We're swinging in the cage in the middle. That's amazing. It's a very small arena. No? Feels like a very small arena. So are we going to get reflection stuff? Searing Ray. Let's not be in front of him. Yeah. Ruby Glow. This feels like AoE. The Ruby Cares creates cells of light. Searing Ray. How do we get... Everyone's standing in the middle here. Why? So when the red thing is in the way, when the red barrier is in the way, it prevents damage from crossing over, spells from crossing over. I didn't see if it would prevent us from crossing over too. Topaz stones. Question marks around them, or staffs? I'm not sure if they're staffs or question marks. Hungry, I don't know what that was. I'm not understanding this. Okay. How do we know where the Sonic Howl? That feels like an AoE. How do we know where was safe there? Because didn't the crystals only show the topaz? What, question mark? Does this mean no? I'm still gonna get behind him. That's not a question mark. It's just a magic staff, I guess. But I feel like it has some meaning. I don't think it's just flavor. I like the vocals that are coming in here, like like the humming almost. Acidic slaver, everyone's got a cutscene going on. Trying to bust out of your cage? What's going on? You successfully busted out of your cage. Okay. So it can consume green slime things. Probably not good if it does. So if we... Sating its hunger. So is it good to sate its hunger? Probably not. We want it to stay hungry, right? Ruby Glow. So how do we know where to go? Oh, no. I don't know. I feel like how did you know that was the good place to go? Why was that the good place to go? I don't know. I don't know why that quadrant was safe. Or what indicator it had I should have been looking for to see it was safe. So topaz stones are coming again. These are the ones that have just the question, but they're poison topaz stones. Toxic Crunch, do we want to get behind this? I feel like the green ones are going to be a bigger burst, maybe? Yeah. Oh, look at that crunch. No idea. Oh, do we not want to be in the path that it showed? I guess that was just the order of operations. Oh, I got hit by a thing. Oh, okay. Well, I'm probably dead. I think I'm in... Am I in the belly? Yeah, okay. So that must have... The crunch, crunch, crunch must have been showing which we're going to blow up in what order. All right, what am I looking for here? Ruby Keras creates cells of light. Right. I want to stay down for this. So there's the topaz thing. Topaz 1. Topaz 2. I don't know what's good here. All right, so that's poison. We don't want to be near the poison. So I want to be this way, maybe. We want to... Oh, no, shit. It's Searing Ray. We want to get to the other side. I saw that too late. I knew what was happening only too late. What a cool area this is. Like, oh, look at all the little Venus flytraps around. All right, Topaz Claw. Let's see if I can get this once. All right, so I see the clusters coming up. So that one's dangerous. That one's dangerous. This is it his? Yeah, so we're going to go here and then be safe, right? So I think I might have gotten it. I don't know. Maybe. I think I got it. I'm sure I missed something, but I feel like okay with that fight. And God, just the idea of fighting Proto-Carbuncle. I thought it was going to be like a... I didn't expect Proto-Carbuncle to be like that. Boy, howdy. So where are we now? We're in... I guess this is Abyssos. This is the plant... Gross bio swamp area. We're in Blighttown now. You can do this. I have faith in you. I feel bad for locking him up in his cage again. But he did try to kill us, so that's what you get. Yeah, that's like a job well done, but not something we're necessarily happy to have to have done. Not a tragedy, but we'd rather not have had to do that. So this is where research is conducted on creations imbued with poisons and venoms. Erichthonius and I were conveyed not far from here. It seems our foe is finding it more difficult to surprise us. Fortunately for us, since they appear... Fortunately for you, since they appear particularly keen to see you dispatched as quickly as possible. They did dispatch me a couple times there. Even alone you are a force to be reckoned with. Part of me is glad you emerged victorious, that I might observe you further, that... God, I keep wanting... I really want to speak up on his behalf, but that feels very Lahotbrea-ish. That feels like a researcher talking. He always had the vampire mask? Were the circumstances different? Also, Lahotbrea can get it. I'm just saying, he can... You're looking... You see the screen. Were the circumstances different, I might thank you for keeping my son alive for this long, but I believe we can forego introductions, unless I have misread you. No, I gotcha. Why the red mask, though? And why did you make it look... I don't know. I guess there's nothing necessarily evil about fangs, but... something threatening about them. Even without, like, Bram Stoker in your world. I'm all too familiar, Paragon. Am I supposed to know who you are? Why Paragon? Charming appellation, but I'm afraid I hold no such position. What's Paragon a reference to? Is that something he does in the future? No, I am Lahotbrea of the Convocation of 14. If you truly are who you claim to be, then answer this question. That can wait. What is this? You getting poisoned or drained? Or... You seem surprised. Now this is curious. The trap I wove at your feet reacts to ether, but you remain unaffected. I don't have ether? Oh no, because I'm like so divided. Of course, of course. Such thin ether and in an unfamiliar composition besides. It is of no matter, I suppose. A more direct approach will beget the same results. Mer. Rump. I would advise you to think carefully before deciding on your next action. Strike me down here, and I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Erechthonios' wish shall remain unfulfilled. Never again shall he meet Athena. Who's Athena? Mother? You would dare hide behind her name. Ah, okay. Listen well, Erechthonios. We are of the same mind concerning your mother. You have allies for protection, so what harm is there in hearing me out? Yeah, so the trap did... Yeah, so the trap was prepared for someone... I'm just still puzzling over the trap. So, like, it's sort of like if you put out a bear trap and a fly steps on it, it's not going to trigger it. Okay. Erechthonios, wait! There's a question I must needs ask first. If you truly are Lahotbrea, why speak such blatant lies? Bitter in defeat, are we? No, I trust Themis this right here. Say my name. Heisenberg. Simple request. Yeah, it's not Lahotbrea. Oh. No, never mind. I thought this was going to be like... It's still... I don't know. God, they keep tossing... I don't know what to think here. Themis, was it? A trifle soon forgotten, as are you. I have my answer. So was he lying or not? Lahotbrea that I knew took pride in the convocation and would never suffer its denigration. So he could either be actually changed, like the Lahotbrea that you knew, like physically, but he just, you know, he's changed his emotion, he changed his philosophy and thoughts, you know, as time goes on. Or he could be possessed. I'm leaning towards more that he's being possessed or manipulated by something deeper within Pandemonium still. That this is not his true free will. Were you baiting him? You sully his station with this farce. Oh, Themis. Themis, what are you saying? Lahotbrea and I hardly saw eye to eye, but I know his voice when I hear it. Physically. Indeed, he makes a passing fine imitation in appearance and manner. However, the real Lahotbrea would never call me by the name Themis. What? What the fresh hell? What trouble have you gotten yourself into, Elpis? Imposter, you have no right to claim that form, that mask. Oh, right, because Elpis is not our Elpis necessarily. It's probably, in fact, not our Elpis. No, it's 100% not the Elpis that we fought in 5.3, because that Elpis took on the role of Elpis only after Zodiac was created, and he had to, you know, he removed himself from his heart and took on the role of Elpis. This is a different Elpis. I did not expect to see the Asian-style mask here. Why is everyone in this game attractive? What the f... Okay. What? Who? So this is the current Elpis. It was a mask that sickened me to wear. The Mask of Lahotbrea. A man who values his position above all, who would murder his own wife in pursuit of duty. Are you, like, internal affairs? Do you suspect the Lahotbrea of something? Yet you would assume my name and wield powers that are mine by right. Any worth you may have hinges on that which you so despise. Such trite provocations. It's saying Lahotbrea. I'm assuming this is Lahotbrea in quotes. I don't think this is the... I think the Lahotbrea is the one behind us, not this guy, right? That's what we're... It's weird that Lahotbrea isn't in quotes or something. It's giving me a little bit of confusion. Such trite provocations. I will not be goaded into finishing this ere my work is done. Erechthonios, listen well. I am Hephaestus. Hephaestus, so you're like a builder? I guess no, because Hephaestus is his actual name. Elidibus is his title. And it is I whom you should call father. What in the name of creation? Yeah, that's Elpis, Elpisian for what the sweet hell was that. So wait. Oh no, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm being a big old dunkus. So Hephaestus is someone different. Elidibus is Themys's. So Themis is the Greek name, or like the Hades name, like under the personal name, and Themis is Elidibus right now. Okay, Themis is the current Elidibus. Oh, what happens to Themis? Because Elidibus, I don't know. There's okay. I get it now. I apologize. We would not do well to stand idle while our enemy is about. So presumably for now, we don't... If Hephaestus is not one of the convocation, Themis is, though. We would do well not to stand idle while our enemy is about. I believe an explanation is in order, Elidibus. Let us return to safety so you may provide it. Ah, that sounds more like the Lahotbrea I know. You can just step into the poison swamp. Was Hephaestus dressed... Did Hephaestus take on the visage of Erechthonios himself? Or did he just take on the visage of someone who was meant to resemble Erechthonios as, like, a father? I don't know. I'll have to go back and check that, but I wonder. I'm not sure. Before we depart, I must offer you an apology. As Lahotbrea said, I am Elidibus, one of the convocation and emissary of their will. For reasons which do not involve you, it was necessary to hide my identity while investigating this place. Still, that hardly excuses my deception. It kind of excuses it. I had a feeling. I did not have a feeling. Whatever your name is, you're still Themis to me. I'm going to say this as a way to say don't worry about it. Yeah. It's always hard to know. It could have been one of those things where it's like, well, you're still Themis to me, where I meant it as when I meant it as it's shown here, but they could have, my character could have been like, you're still Themis to me. I don't acknowledge you as a convocation member anymore. Such words are comforting, truly. I shall offer an explanation in time, but first let me assure you, my choices were not born from animosity. I believe that. In any case, we have pressing matters to attend to. Let us do as Lahotbrea suggested and return to the gates. We can speak there. Please help him. Save him. Save Hephaestus? I don't know. Lahotbrea, I see Elidibus has chosen to keep such odd company, such a vexing composition of ether you possess. Thank you. I still don't understand. Yeah, I don't blame you. Themis, as you are aware of by now, I am known as Elpis. After my dear friend Azem and I detected irregularities in Pandemonium, we decided the best course of action would be to hide my station as I conducted my investigation. I am sure Lahotbrea as well is eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save that story for later. First, I would like to speak of you, my friend. Although neither Azem nor I had ever met you in the flesh, you came with her highest recommendation. That alone was enough for me to accept you as an ally without question. Azem approved me? That somewhere in the world a guiding star so similar to herself was out there, amused Azem to no end. There was not a shade of doubt in her mind that you'd be a formidable ally. Furthermore, I have heard stories that Mistress Vana, who held the position of Azem previously, journeyed with a familiar much like yourself that made the decision to trust you all the easier. Why does Azem know who I am in this world? She too now dons the white robes of an advisor. If she placed her absolute faith in... Oh, the white robes of an advisor, okay. If she placed her absolute faith in you, I knew I would be in capable hands. Aware though I was of the path you had walked, I have no interest in exposing you. I merely wanted to meet you, to travel by your side for a while. I am quite interesting, I'm quite something, so I don't blame you. I may know but a small portion of your whole story, but that is enough for me to believe you would never lead me astray. I wanted to tell you that. Okay. We'll direct hit a bit. And I admit my own grasp on what just occurred is somewhat tenuous. Thank you. Okay, it's not just me. See, Elpis is... Okay. So that's going to be it for me for today. I don't have a lot of energy right now. I'm pretty tired and it's late at night. So yeah, I'll do this and I will continue with the next boss and probably the next couple, I'm guessing. Maybe even the rest of the whole thing. I don't know. I'll continue with it anyway next time. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed... I still feel weird asking for this. If you enjoyed, leave a like. It certainly helps the video get more... I think spread a little bit more. We're almost at 100 subscriptions, which is subscribers, which is bonkers to me. And if you're here, I appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed. See you later. Bye-bye.